Hello, thanks for dropping by. Let's have a nice cup of tea or coffee. And if you ever wondered where I picked up my hobby of taking photographs of everything, I can't really tell you when, but by the time I was an adolescent, my parents had given me a little camera, and here I am, taking pictures. This week's photo was taken in Vitoria-Gasteiz in September a few years ago during the annual TV festival. It's of a group of adolescent girls who were screaming and shouting as one of their favourite TV stars approached them down the orange carpet. It's the orange carpet in Vitoria, not the red carpet. This week's article asks the question, can adults ever understand adolescents? It seems that we live on different planets, right? Emotional reactions, decision making, they're all so different in the adolescent mind and brain than in the adult mind. I don't know if adolescents have more fun or if life is more miserable, if adults are more boring or simply just more rational, or none of that is actually true. In a TED talk in April of this year, 2025 for those of you watching in the future, Jennifer Pfeiffer talks about how adults need to make an effort to understand adolescents better, and we need to stop all this negativity that we have about, oh, adolescents, oh, they're a nightmare, oh, they're a disaster.
Oh, they want to destroy humanity, they do everything wrong, oh God, they're stupid, oh my God, what is going to happen?
She describes how the adolescent brain is built for exploring. So these crazy spontaneous decisions that adults often laugh at are in fact not immature actions, but explorations. Adults are always complaining about young people. This goes back every single generation. In fact, the famous historian of London, John Stowe, in a book that he wrote in 1598, wrote about how young people don't walk anymore. The typical complaint of an old person against young people. And he also complained about the traffic. It was getting slower and slower. Does that sound familiar? Anyway, the adolescent brain is a complicated thing. So, let's find out more.
Okay, so let's get into this deep dive on adolescence. Because, for decades, the whole story around young people has been so, just overwhelmingly negative.
Oh, completely. It's always a moral panic.
Yeah, that they're all depressed, they're obsessed with their phones, they're, constantly about to destroy themselves.
It's a recurring fear-based story. And that's really what neuroscientist Jennifer Pfeiffer is trying to do, to just replace that whole narrative with one that's hopeful and actually based on science.
And to do that, we have to start with a definition, right? Because scientifically, this isn't just about the teen years.
Not at all. We're talking about a huge period from around age 10 all the way to 25.
10 to 25, wow. That's a massive range. I was technically an adolescent when I signed my first apartment lease.
And that probably explains a few things. The phase is defined by its bookends. It starts with puberty, and it really only ends when a young person fully takes on adult roles and responsibilities. And those roles are just getting more complex.
Okay, but the classic argument you always hear is, well, teens make bad choices because their brains are immature. That's the go-to explanation for all the risk-taking.
And that's exactly the stereotype that needs to be challenged. Yes, the brain is still developing into the mid-20s, but the research shows that by around age 16, adolescents can make thoughtful, responsible decisions.
So like on par with adults?
Often, yes. Yeah. Especially if they're given time to actually think things through and weigh the consequences.
But then why do we see so much more of that? That reckless, impulsive behavior? Doesn't that sort of support the old idea?
It supports the science of exploration, not immaturity. Instead of seeing the brain as incomplete, we should see it as perfectly primed for learning and, exploring.
Ah, so the novelty seeking and the high sensitivity to rewards, that's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. It's the engine that pushes them out of the nest, which you need to do to build independence. And what's also critical is their hypersensitivity to social information.
That sensitivity that makes them worry about everything, you're saying that's actually an asset.
A huge asset. That social hypervigilance is what makes them masters at figuring out complex social groups, which is a crucial skill for, future workplaces.
Let's talk about the physical side for a second.
Yeah.
Puberty itself is stressful, but there's also that biological shift.
Yeah.
The night owl thing.
Right. Their sleep clocks shift later, which clashes directly with things like early school start times. That just adds another layer of stress. But it also creates social risks.
How so?
We see that early puberty, especially for girls, is linked to a higher risk for depression. But what's fascinating is it's less about the hormones themselves and more about the social reaction to them.
So this is the adultification trap I've heard about.
That's it. It's a mismatch of expectations. An adolescent might look physically grown up, so adults, teachers, family, even the justice system start expecting them to have the emotional maturity to match.
Which is just an impossible pressure.
Immense pressure. And if we're talking about how adults misread adolescents, we have to talk about technology. The number one moral panic right now is social media destroying a generation.
So what does the science say?
The scientific consensus from looking at huge meta-analyses is actually pretty clear. Social media use is one of the least influential factors on youth mental health.
Wait, really? With all the noise about it, I would have assumed to be number one.
The effect is small. At most, you might see excessive use linked to maybe a 15% higher rate of mental health issues. And even that small effect often vanishes when you control for other factors.
What kind of factors are we talking about? What's actually a bigger deal than screen time?
Bullying, for one, literally doubles the risk of depression. But the biggest factor, the one that dwarfs the others, is the mental health of parents or caregivers. That can triple the risk, or even more.
Wow. So it's not the external screen, it's the internal family context that's driving the major risk.
That's where the focus needs to be. But the good news here is that positive, high-quality friendships can act as a really powerful shield.
A shield against what?
A shield for adolescents, even those who are online for 4 or 5 hours a day. Strong relationships are the key.
So what's the takeaway here for all of us? The core message seems to be that adolescence isn't a problem we need to fix.
It's a powerful period of growth and adaptation. And to support young people, yes, we need to build the resilience and listen to them. But critically, we as adults have to take responsibility for the environment we create, put our own oxygen mask on first.
We have to stop doom-shaming them. Stop telling them they're fragile and broken.
We have to respect their strengths. Their superpower is adapting to a world that is changing faster than ever. If we can just change our own story from one of panic to one of potential, we unlock their ability to thrive. And that secures a hopeful future for everyone. Just think about how much potential we're stifling right now by focusing on fear instead of on their power.
Chat about these questions and write down your opinions and ideas. 1. Describe the picture. Have you ever reacted in a similar way in the presence of a famous person? 2. How would you describe your adolescence? Describe some good and more difficult experiences. 3. Describe how you think an adolescent's brain is different to an adult's. What do adults lose later in life? 4. In what way do you complain about younger people? Do your parents complain about you? 5. Should adolescents be allowed to participate in elections? If so, how and at what age? If not, why not?